How to stop letting negative thoughts take over your life. If you're feeling dreary, worried, fearful, negative, in a little dark space, then keep on watching. Hey Royal Family, thank you so much for choosing the front row with myself, Roanna Moodley. And today we're talking about the negative thoughts that can consume you. Negative thoughts can be like weeds in the garden of your mind. They creep in unnoticed, and if they're left unchecked, they can take over your mind and your thoughts. These thoughts often distort reality, leading us to focus on worst case scenario or our perceived shortcomings. But here's some good news. You have the power to change this. You have the power to change the way you're thinking, the way you approach things, the way you see things, and you have the power to reshape your mind. And I'm going to show you how to do just that. Before we change our thoughts, we need to first recognize them. Identifying your thought process is crucial in making sure that you change your mindset and move in a positive direction. Here are some negative thought patterns. Catastrophizing. Do you blow things out of proportion? That's you catastrophizing. Everything is a catastrophe. Everything has a huge problem. Everything is woe is me. Oh my God, alert, alert, danger, danger. Do you know someone like that? Is it you? Do you always see a catastrophe? That's the first sign to see that that is a pattern of negative thinking. The second negative thought pattern is all or nothing. If you see things black or white, this or that, there's no in between, there's no flexibility, there's no adjusting, there's no adapting, there's just black and white. It has to be this or that. That is a negative thought pattern because you're not malleable, you're not adaptive enough, you're not flexible enough or open-minded enough to understand that there are thousands of other scenarios that could change this whole situation and you could change your mindset to be positive. The third negative thought pattern is overgeneralization, drawing broad conclusions based on a single event. Again, not focusing on the fact that there are so many other different situations to that. And when you're drawing those broad conclusions, it's always dark and it's always negative and it's never seeing a brighter picture. And the fourth negative thought pattern is mind reading, assuming that you know what this person is thinking, but assuming it in a negative way, usually assuming the worst and thinking, I have an intuition about this person. I know what they're feeling. I know what they're thinking. They don't like me. They're actually going to do bad things to you. They actually don't have good intentions. And always being in this negative space could be a nightmare. So now that we've recognized the negative thought patterns, it's easier for us to grapple and to understand what it is that maybe triggers us to go into this negative thought process. And then it helps us to identify better so that we can go into the light and we can think positive. Understanding and being real and accepting the fact that there are these negative thought patterns. You may perhaps have one of those thought patterns. Maybe you have all of those thought patterns. I personally have experienced all of these thought patterns. And then I went into very dark spaces. And then I had to pull myself and say, listen, Rowie, you need to come into the light because it's actually fun over here and it's actually beautiful over here. And there are problems in life, but it's not as dark as you think it's going to be. And the moment my mind shifted and when I recognized that that was my thought pattern, I could then remedy it and move in the right direction. So now that we've recognized these negative thought patterns, let's dive into strategies that's going to stop us from being negative, from stopping us from going into these patterns. Because most of the time when these things are happening, is happening when you least expected one, when you are experiencing extreme stress in your life, and it automatically flips your mind into this pattern and you default into it. So it's a very dangerous space to be in, depending on the situation you're faced with. And life can throw you some curveballs. How you get out of that rut and how you quickly switch back is what is important. The first step you want to take is to be mindful and to be aware. When a negative thought arises in your mind, recognize it and align with it, and then say that this is not who I want to be. This is not what my life is going to be. And then take a moment to recognize that you're feeling a certain way. Because if you're not recognizing that, and if you're not putting some time to that, then it also feels like you're just kind of brushing it under the carpet and you just want to be positive, because that's not going to work either. So you got to recognize how you're feeling, and that's how you're going to turn it around or flip it over. The next strategy is to challenge those beliefs. What is the validity of the thought process? Where is this coming from? Recognizing it, which is step one, mindful and awareness, and then challenging it, asking those crucial questions. Is it coming from a deeper trauma? Is it just something that you're saying because you're angry and you want to be spiteful, perhaps? That will ascertain the seriousness of the issue at hand, and then it will also result in you pivoting to a positive mindset. Also asking yourself, are the negative thoughts that you're experiencing based on assumptions? Is it based on perceptions? Is it your own experience? And I think with my personal experience, a lot of the cases was because of someone's perception. That person told me about a situation, so I perceived it from their eyes, or I perhaps assumed it could be. So 60% of my problems were washed away because I actually didn't have a fair understanding of what was happening. And that looking deep and asking the whys really helped me to delve into the real issue at hand. And of course, there are instances where you really did experience it and you understand it for what it is. And so therefore, this step is so important, to recognize it and to understand that by challenging the belief and to ask yourself more questions as to why are you feeling this way, it then propels you to make a solution for that negative train of thought, and then eventually pivot and be in a blissful state. The fourth strategy is to practice gratitude. I say this probably in all of my videos, because the practice of gratitude is the practice that will get you through the negativity. If you're not practicing gratitude, it's going to be very difficult for you to get out of the dark space. Let's say, for example, you didn't get the job that you applied for, and it was your dream job and you really, really wanted it. That's a very serious position to be in, because it can get you into a negative space. You can think about all your problems, and then you can make assumptions. Oh, you know what? That person favored so-and-so. They don't really know me. They don't have the right opinion about me. And then you can start getting upset. And then it's a woe is me type of situation. But then you can stop, and then you can tell yourself, okay, but what do I have? I have my current job, which I'm grateful for. I have a roof over my head, which I'm grateful for. I have life. I can breathe. I have my family. I have love. I have faith. I have God. I have the ability to show myself better, so that when the opportunity arrives again, I can apply again and show them what I'm made of. So all of those things I'm grateful for. And because I'm grateful for that, I can pivot and I can do what is within my control to better the situation, so that I can attract the job that I want. And if this is not for me now, I'm grateful, because perhaps I'm not ready for it. And when it does come again, I will be ready for it. So pivoting your mind into a gratitude mindset is so vital, because it's going to be the secret formula. You don't even know. It's the secret formula to propelling you to the next step. Every single time I was woe is me, and it's so easy to get into that space. And then you find like-minded people that are in the negative space, and you're just negative. Nothing happens. But the moment you say, hang on, let's look at it. What's within our control? What can I do to change the situation? Because I don't want to be a negative Nancy anymore. And you start looking at your blessings and you're saying thank you. Something happens within your persona that forces you to start thinking about solutions. And the universe also changes. And you start seeing a brighter picture. Trust me on this. You don't even know how beautiful this formula is. And the fifth strategy is to practice physical activity and self-care. Taking a walk, going for a run, doing something that shakes you up a little and gets you pumped, gets those endorphins running, makes you feel happy. Getting outside in the sun, vitamin D, having good conversations, taking care of yourself, getting your nails done if that makes you happy, doing something small that is a pocket of happiness for you. And that's going to be a game changer, because the more you focus on the little happy wins is what is going to make your whole brain start thinking in a more positive way. It's such a wonderful feeling to be able to look at every moment in your day and say, this is a joyous moment. The fact that I'm sitting here and talking to you is such a joyous moment for me, because I get to share what's in my heart with you. And if you relate with me, it's such a beautiful conversation that we've started, and it's not negative, and it's so full of brightness and positivity. So that's really where you want to be. I'm sitting out in the sun. It's beautiful. I'm sitting on the couch and watching TV. It's such a beautiful experience. I'm talking to my friend. It's such a beautiful experience. Whatever the case may be, there's always these pockets of happiness that you can find. And the more you practice self-care and the more you take care of your wellness, whether it is in mind, body, and spirit, suddenly you don't have time for negativity. You don't have time to wallow in the darkness, because that peace, just being with yourself and enjoying who you are as a person and enjoying this world that we belong to, and for the time that we're here, just to enjoy these moments and the interactions we have with the people that are in our life, that in itself is such a glorious win. When you look at these strategies, look at it as tools for you to pull yourself out of the darkness, to really get to the next step. And it's your secret sauce. It's your secret formula for when you realize what negative thought train you're on, and then using the strategies to remedy that. Game changer. Now, I'm sure you know this already, but your environment plays a very important role in your negative thoughts. If you're in an environment that is negative, you're going to have negative thoughts. It's similar to you are who you join. So if you're joining people that are negative, you're in a space that doesn't allow for sunshine, if you will, then of course you're going to be in this space of wallow. But if you're surrounding yourself with more positivity, your mindset is going to shift. If you're going to watch more self-development videos, if you're going to watch more motivational videos, if you're going to read the right books, if you're going to spend time with yourself, if you're going to spend time outside, if you're going to have the right conversations with open-minded, positive people, that's shifting your environment in the right way, and that's improving the way you change your mindset to move from negative to positive. Think of it this way: by curating a positive environment, you're creating the sanctuary of bliss and just love and joy and happiness. It's so much more abundant than being, I hate this, I don't like this is bad, that kind of mindset. I do not want that in my life. I reject it. I rebuke it. You want to take a moment each day to reflect on your day. What's the highs of your days and what's the lows of the days? I like to do that at the end of the day. When I'm ready for bed, I take a few minutes to look at the things that worked and then look at the things that didn't work. I don't write it down all the time. Sometimes when I have the time to write it down, I write it down. I used to write it down a lot when I was younger, but now it's a bit chaotic, so I try to just mentally think about it. More often than not, you'll find a learning. Perhaps I shouldn't have reacted in a situation like that. Perhaps I could tweak this a little bit differently for the next time. This was really good. I'm proud of myself for doing this today. So I think if you can leave every day knowing that you did something good and you actually were not that negative, then it's a win. Because you're going to have certain moments in the day that push you maybe in a negative space, but it's how you come out of that and how quickly you reboot and get back to your positive mindset is what is important. Because remember, someone who's always positive and never negative is also fake. So you've got to keep it real and understand that we are human with human emotions, and that's okay. And again, as we said earlier, recognizing that is what's most important. And you're going to give yourself even more of yourself if you just chill out a bit, Take the time to embrace positivity. Take the time to recognize how you're feeling and work on those areas of development and recognize what are the signs and symptoms that you have. And slowly, with practice, with consistency, with understanding how you can move forward and where you are in your journey will be the solution that you need. Take your time with it. Understand every day that you're getting to know yourself better and better, because you're in a relationship with yourself and you're getting to know yourself better. And be open to the glory that comes with this journey. It is a very fast-paced life. It is a life filled of ups and downs, but at the end of it all, it's worth it. And you are worth it. And you're here for a reason. And you're here because God chose you to be here. And you have a purpose to fill. You have a story to tell. And I want you to know that about you. You're not just a number. You're not just here because you're just here. You're here because you were supposed to be here. And just look within yourself and still your mind. And I promise you, you're going to figure that out. And when you do and you start moving in the direction of what your purpose is, beautiful things are going to happen for you. Trust, believe, and understand that. And be in it for the long haul. This is a consistency journey. This is a disciplined journey. This is self-care. This is self-development. I appreciate you. Thank you for choosing the front row, and we'll do this again next time. Cheers.